Regulation G is back. She's back, and today we have a little Uber Pokemon that I am very affectionate to since 2019. So I decided to build an Art Trick Room team. And of course, the first matchup we get is Tyranitar, Chi-Yu, and Calyrex Shadow. Now, I'm not complaining too much about Calyrex Shadow and Chi-Yu. As you can see, this team is equipped to deal with them. It's more the Tyranitar that is weird, that kinda messes up my strategy, but that's okay. As you can see, I'm getting the Astral Barrage on the Ogerpon, and I switch in Ursaluna to get the immunity. Ogerpon unfortunately will go down for the Sand. I will get Incineroar, and now the CU and Calyrex lead is shut down. Unfortunately, CU gets a KO on my Ursaluna, but at this point, their Chi-Yu is at -2, and that Tyranitar doesn't worry too much because my Necrozma has the Terra Fairy. So I parting shot Tyranitar to reduce his damage, and I set up a Trick Room. With only Incineroar and Necrozma, I am still confident I can still threat win, so I knock off the Indeedee. Of course I will get the KO. Snarl misses Incineroar and it's Necrozma in a sick twisted joke that the RNG is throwing me, but the Sand is gone now, and despite the -1, Tyranitar is an easy target, so you can see it's almost dead. Rock Slide hits. This Calyrex also has Snarl and hits Necrozma. I don't know what this guy was cooking. Probably his team was against other Calyrex Shadows in order to win the mirror match, but yeah, he probably wasn't expecting Necrozma to literally outspeed his team by putting the Trick Room on the field. So, very difficult matchup, but I actually got a confidence boost from this one. It was the first match I did with this team, and despite the tough matchup, I still managed to not only set up a Trick Room safely, I even won against a team that is supposed to be the counter to a team. So yeah, that's pretty good. Next, replay. Our next opponent is using a Giratina team with Iron Bundle, Fluttermane, Urshifu. We know these faces. This Urshifu is gonna U-turn, Ogerpon is gonna follow me. It's basically the major reason why Ogerpon is here, because it's both an offensive Pokemon and a support Pokemon, which is the reason why I love her so much. Ogerpon has sacrificed herself, and here's a little thing that I thought of. This is male Indeedee, and I gave it Trick with the Choice Scarf in order to give it to other Pokemon during Trick Room, in order to make them slower in Trick Room by making them faster. It's a weird strategy that I thought of, and I wanted to try this out. Meanwhile, while I'm talking, Necrozma and Indeedee are just destroying everything. The combination with Psychic Terrain and Photon Geyser here is absolutely devastating. Photon Geyser is already a very powerful move. It's, in my opinion, better than Expanding Force on Necrozma, for the simple reason that you're not weak to possible, very much possible, White Guard that may start roaming around as Calyrex Shadow starts dominating the meta. So people will evolve to get White Guards on their team, and Necrozma is just a Calyrex that it's single target all the time, so doesn't have to worry too much about the White Guards. Meanwhile, there's Indeedee here to offer Psychic Terrain, there's plenty of support, there's Ursaluna, there's Incineroar, there's King Gambit. On to the next replay. Last replay is against a Zacian team. Now, Zacian has kinda fallen from grace, but it's still a decently dangerous Pokemon with the right support. As you can see here, the lead is pretty much the same all the time. Zacian gets a play half onto the Ogerpon, KOing her immediately. I get Indeedee on the field, and now we are set up. Grimmsnarl switches in. I Terra Psychic indeed in order to get more damage. I try to Photon Geyser onto the Zacian and Expanding Force. Unfortunately, no damage dealt this turn, and Rillaboom is just going to switch in. I switch out my Indeedee, and I get Ursaluna on the field. Rillaboom is gonna get a very good amount of damage despite the light screen and the lack of Psychic Terrain. Indeedee comes back. Ursaluna is now on the field, ready to deal some serious damage. Grimmsnarl goes for Sucker Punch, but that's not too much of a problem. We not only switched, but put up Psychic Terrain. Our opponent forgets about said Psychic Terrain, and I just Hyper Voice Expanding Force. Deals a pretty decent amount of damage. I come back with NECROZMA, thinking about a Rillaboom switch, which does happen. Flare Blitz is gonna hit NECROZMA, not too much damage. Hyper Voice just keeps chipping away, quote unquote chipping away HP from our opponent's team. I get back Indeedee to avoid a Grassy Glide. They get a Play Rough, we resist at 2%. They get a Wood Hammer onto my Indeedee, they sacrifice the Ursaluna. I get a Photon Geyser off, 71% damage. I go down, and unfortunately, you may say Ursaluna is the only one. This Grimmsnarl doesn't seem to have attacking moves, but I have Hyper Voice, and they make the fatal mistake of using Substitute in front of someone with Hyper Voice. So, this was the last replay with this team. Let's go on to the team profile. So, the team I'm presenting you is actually in two versions, because I can already see people wondering why Indeedee male and not Indeedee female. Just to let you know, I will give you also a version with female Indeedee on the team as an alternative. It's another follow me, it's a OK helmet, which is important for Urshifu. It's another Trick Room setter, it has Dazzling Gleam, so they are both valid versions in my opinion. And let's just start from Indeedee, shall we? I gave it a Choice Scarf plus Trick for the little trick that I mentioned earlier. I want to trick the Choice Scarf onto opponent's Pokemon in order to make them slower during my Trick Room time, which I figured could be a pretty neat strategy and a pretty way to make speed control. You don't have many ways to reduce the speed in Trick Room because you're supposed to be already the slowest one on the field. But in case we are matching against a Calyrex Ice Rider, which is a bit slower than NECROZMA, I can just trick the Choice Scarf onto them, and our NECROZMA will be instantly faster than them. This is my NECROZMA, of course, Indeedee. This one is Terra Psychic in order to get more damage with Expanding Force. The other one is Terra Fairy to resist more damage. Our NECROZMA, the star of the team. I'm very affectionate to this Pokemon because in 2019 I made the top 16 in a tournament with a NECROZMA, Dawn Wings and Mega Mawile team. So I kinda missed playing this Pokemon in a Trick Room setup for the return of Regulation G to bring back this old friend. So, Photon Geyser, of course, is the big stab. It's physical if the attack of the user is higher than the special attack and ignores abilities. Now, the first part of the effect is not too relevant most of the times. You can argue if the opponent manages to halve your special attack, but it's most likely not the case, especially with the team we have. If an Incineroar has Snarl, it's not gonna last too much. It's a niche interaction in this case, so I'm not worried about that. Moongeist Beam ignores abilities of other Pokemon again. These two are the stabs of our NECROZMA here. The reason is I feel like they can be better than Calyrex Shadow Rider for the simple reason that Calyrex Shadow Rider is shut down by Wild Guards, and Pelipper is already a very popular Pokemon and will just need a little extra push in order to completely stop an Uber from working. Not to mention there's also Terrapagos around, so yeah, I am way more fond of NECROZMA than Wings. We have Trick Room, of course, we auto set up with our Uber, and then as a coverage we have Hurt Power, because you may never know when you wanna hit a King Gambit that doesn't have the terastallization ready. So yeah, also same thing for Incineroar. You may be surprised by the lack of Protect in this set. The reason is I basically reused the same set my old NECROZMA used back in the day, with no Protect, just going full offensive. It used the Z move, the Lunala Z move to be precise, because the Ultra NECROZMA was too fast in the Trick Room to be optimized in the team. So I recycled that same exact moveset. I did not recycle the spread because I still wanna study if that spread will be good for this meta. And so this is the start of our match. Let's talk about the rest of our crew. The next member is Ogerpon, Wellspring in this case. I missed Ogerpon in Regulation H. The reason is I really like how this Pokemon plays. It's not too overpowered, it's very flexible, but not in a random and toxic way for the meta. Can be essentially a very valuable friend to have. It has an amazing ability in Water Absorb. The Wellspring Mask makes the Pokemon just bulkier, boosting the special defense. Deals a very high amount of damage, even if I don't invest too much into the attack stat. You can see it's base 120, decently fast, so I really like this Pokemon. I really missed this Pokemon. Water Grass coverage here is just amazing. Follow Me, Spiky Shield. This Pokemon can redirect and be immune to spores from Among Us, which is amazing. It can also ignore the Rage Powders, so we can threat opposing Pokemon even if they're protected theoretically by an Among Us, which already suffers by the NECROZMA in DD core. The next damage dealer of this team is of course Ursaluna Bloodmoon with the Silk Scarf, because the Life Orb is onto the NECROZMA. Ursaluna Bloodmoon is just one of the best Trick Room sweepers we have. Bloodmoon is an insane move, her power Hyper Voice is just too good to pass out, and Protect, Mind's Eye, is the only ability this Pokemon possess. Again, basic spread, you can adapt it as the meta goes, even if it's not a completely new meta. This Pokemon is just too good to not have in your Trick Room team. I don't think I need to say more. Another Pokemon that doesn't need any presentation is of course King Gambit, Defiant, Assault Vest, with the Terra type Dark. You can make Flying if you need to, if you don't wanna lose the mirror match against Ursaluna Bloodmoon or something else. You can adapt King Gambit to your needs. It's a very good Pokemon even for that reason. Again, standard spread, but more often than not for King Gambit is enough. If you're going for a tournament though, I recommend you make and study more complex spreads if needed. But in this case, almost max HP, max attack, and a bit of special defense with the Assault Vest. I just noticed a little mistake that I'm gonna correct live right now, which is the speed of our King Gambit, which should be absolutely min speed. So yeah, usual King Gambit, and then Incineroar again. Usual Incineroar, very bulky, Citrus Berry, Intimidate, Terra Grass. It's the usual. You can think of dropping the Grass Terra type because it's usually used to protect Incineroar both from super effective attacks and Among Us, but we have Ogerpon to redirect the spores here. So you may make an argument for a Terra Ghost or a Terra Water. I'm just more comfortable with Incineroar Terra Grass. So that is basically the team that I'm going for. This is the alternative with the female Indeedee, which I'm first of all gonna change here and go quickly through the female Indeedee. Terra Fairy, Rocky Helmet, Dazzling Gleam, Follow Me, Trick Room, and Protect. Classical support Indeedee, so with the Rocky Helmet to deal more damage passively to the various Urshifu's. So really choose the version of this team that you like the most. I personally don't have a recommendation on which one of the two is better. I feel like they can both work exceptionally well. So that's all I had to say about NECROZMA on Wings. I really love the NECROZMA Pokemon, both of them. Let me know in the comments what you think, and as always, see you next time. Goodbye.